Hi, my name is Barry Doyle. I'm a lawyer in Chicago. I'm here today to talk about the choices that truck drivers have as to where they can file a workers' compensation claim. Truck drivers are a little bit different than just about every other kind of person who might be hurt on the job, and that often truck drivers have a choice as to where they can file a workers' compensation claim. And that choice that you make as a truck driver as to where your workers' compensation case is going to be filed can make a huge difference in the outcome of your case. Sometimes it can literally be the difference between winning and losing. It can make a difference of thousands of dollars in terms of how much you get in the way of benefits. It can make a huge difference in terms of your ability to control your own medical care. The information I'm going to be giving you today is important information if you're a truck driver, if you have a truck driver in your social network. Hit like, hit share, so that other people can benefit from this information. I'm a big believer in the concept that knowledge is power. The more information you have about what your rights are as a truck driver after you've been hurt on the job, it is important to making good decisions about how to handle your workers' compensation case and to handle your life affairs generally. So hit like, hit share. This is good information that we're going to be sharing today. So truck drivers are a little bit different than everybody else. And the way that truck drivers are a little bit different than everyone else in terms of workers' compensation issues is this. Let's just say for a minute that you worked at a grocery store. You go in, you apply for a job, you get hired there, you work there, and one day you slip in the produce section and you get hurt. Where you were hired, where you work every day, and where you get hurt is all one place. Now, if you're a truck driver, for most truck drivers, that's not how things go. You have a home terminal. You may or may not have been hired from that home terminal. You get in your truck and you drive. And most often you drive across state lines. And the idea of crossing state lines is an important one when it comes to workers' compensation cases, because workers' comp is a question of state law. And every state's workers' compensation system looks different. Illinois is different from Wisconsin's, is different from Indiana's, and so forth. And the more business-friendly a state has decided to become, in general, the worse it's going to be for someone who's been hurt on the job. Generally, the amount of benefits that someone who gets hurt on the job is going to get while they're off is less. Generally, they're going to get less money in the way of a settlement. Generally, they're going to have less ability to access quality medical care and to control their own medical care. So, because every state's system is different, that choice that you make is going to make a huge difference in terms of how your case goes, and in fact, whether you're going to be covered by workers' compensation at all, and it can make a big difference flat out, win or lose. These are important decisions that you've got to make, okay? So the legal term for whether or not you can file a workers' compensation case in a state is jurisdiction. In Illinois, there are three bases of jurisdiction for workers' compensation cases. The first of these is that the accident that produced the injury happened within the state of Illinois. Pretty straightforward. Second basis of jurisdiction is your principal place of employment is within the state of Illinois. Generally, that would be your home terminal or where you get dispatched out of. And the last is where your contract for hire was formed. And that's a little bit murkier question. It's the last thing that has to be done before you're officially hired by the company. Sometimes it's as simple as taking a drug test or a physical. Sometimes it's literally where you sign on the dotted line and you've agreed to work for the company. Any one of those three means that Illinois has jurisdiction over your case potentially if you choose to file your workers' compensation case in Illinois. And that means that Illinois workers' compensation laws would apply then. Okay? So what I want to do right now is just talk for a minute about some of the key areas where that choice that you make as to where you file your workers' compensation case can make a huge difference in terms of the outcome of your case. The most basic is what's the monetary benefit you get as a result of your on-the-job injury. Now, there are three basic benefits that you get. You get 2/3 your average weekly wage while you're off. You get payment of your medical expenses, and you get a lump sum settlement for permanency that's associated with your injury. Those are the three basic benefits that you get under the Illinois Workers' Compensation Act. Now, with regard to the first and the last of these, the temporary total disability payments and the settlement that you get at the end of the case, Those are things that can vary greatly from state to state. In some states, there's going to be a maximum amount of benefit that you can get. In some states, that's capped at an artificially low rate. In some states, that amount of benefit that you can get is calculated a little differently than it is in Illinois. It could result in a lower figure. And then on the back end, when you have been released to go back to work, you're either all better or as good as you're going to get. How that settlement is evaluated is going to be very different from state to state as well. The benefit levels for various types of injuries are going to be figured in a very, very different kind of way. Second basic way that workers' compensation laws vary from state to state is over the amount of control over your medical care and the access you have to quality medical care. In Illinois, in general, as an injured worker, you would have a fairly high degree of control over who you see and the kinds of care that you have access to. In other states, it's entirely up to the employer, and there are different states that are all different places in between. But if you want access to quality medical care, one of the things that you want to be careful to do is look at filing your case in a state where you have that degree of control over your case. Another place where the choice that you make in terms of where you're going to file a workers' compensation case can make a big difference is dealing with what I call off-the-clock injuries. There are some types of accidents that are very clearly covered by workers' compensation. You're tarping up a load and you fall off a trailer. I just talked to a gentleman who had that happen to him. That's something that's very clearly a work-related injury. Now, there are some states where you have to have a very close connection between what happened to you and your job in order to be eligible for workers' compensation. In other states, it's a bit looser, and Illinois is one of these states where that connection can be a little bit looser. And it's important for truck drivers in particular because you spend a lot of time away from home and get exposed to a lot of hazards that you wouldn't be exposed to if you were in any other line of work. And being able to be covered for what I call off-the-clock injuries is a significant advantage for a lot of truck drivers in being able to file a workers' compensation case in Illinois. Another area where it makes a big difference is if you're an owner-operator. Now, owner-operators, in some states, are specifically excluded from coverage for workers' comp. In other states, they're specifically included, and other states still yet. Illinois is one of them. You have to put on certain kinds of proof in order to be covered by workers' compensation if you're an owner-operator. If you're an owner-operator, where you choose to file your claim literally can be outcome determinative in the sense of if you choose the wrong state, one that specifically excludes owner-operators from workers' compensation coverage, you're going to lose your case. On the flip side, if you choose a state where you're going to be automatically covered, then you have a fighting chance at least. Doesn't mean you're going to win, but you know that you'll at least be covered. Another area that makes a big difference is in terms of what kind of proof of causation you have to put on to show that your injuries were caused by the job. There are some types of injuries that are going to be very clearly related to your work. If you fall and you break a bone, there's not going to be much of an issue with that. On the other hand, with things like back injuries and cartilage injuries and shoulder injuries and neck injuries, things like that where you're going to be dealing with degenerative conditions, pre-existing conditions, how the workers' compensation laws address those issues makes a big difference in terms of where you choose to have your case filed. So, which state is going to be the best? What's the best place for you to file a workers' compensation case? There isn't a yes or no answer to that. It all depends. It depends on what's important to you. It depends on what the key issues are in your case. And if you're going to look at bringing a workers' compensation case as a truck driver who's been hurt on the job, one of the things that you need to do is get good legal help so that you can weigh out the options as to where you have to file a case and which states are going to treat you most favorably in terms of the key legal issues in your case. And that's the kind of thing that you really do need good legal help for. And that's a kind of service that our firm offers and the firms that we work with offer truck drivers all around the country. I hope this has been helpful. If you think it's been helpful, hit like, hit share so that other drivers can benefit from this information. You can feel free to visit our website, Rights of Injured Truckers. That's www.rightsofinjuredtruckers.com. Or you can simply call our office at 312-263-1080. We're happy to talk to any driver about what their options might be in terms of making a workers' compensation claim. Have a great day. Stay safe.